you must be Becky.
Hello, I am Becky.
I'm Annette.
Hi.
I'm really happy to meet you today.
Nice to meet you too.
I know when we scheduled your appointment, you had mentioned that you were having some nutrition-related issues you wanted to talk about. So,
Yeah. Gosh, I guess, let's see. The school year just started, and I'm kind of struggling a little bit with routine and just transitioning with routine, and kind of feel like I'm losing my routine a little bit, and which stresses me out. And I actually study nutrition, so to me it's just I can see all the things I should do, and once I get busy, I have a really hard time keeping up on all those things I should do. And so, yeah, I don't know exactly where to go with that.
okay. So how long have you been in school? So you just started school, but is this your first year in school? Are you down the road in school?
I've actually been on and off with school for several years, but then I went back to school 4 years ago. And the biggest thing is that I moved down to Moscow a couple of years ago for the program that I'm in, and realistically, it's once I've moved and kind of just lived in a different place and social life is different, that's kind of where I notice I put a lot of energy and time into school, and that's when I start losing my routine. So it's been in the last couple of years, and that's why this year I want to be more preventative, maybe figure out a few ways to, I don't know, just brainstorm and figure out how I get off track with my routine and how to stay on track before I lose it. So
Okay. So when you moved to Moscow, was that 4 years ago? How long ago was that?
So I moved to Moscow 2 years ago.
Okay.
I started school 4 years ago, but I moved from Sandpoint 2 years ago, and so have been going full time ever since.
Okay. And when you were not in Moscow, but still attending school earlier, did you feel like you had problems with your routine or hard time making a routine at that point?
I guess it was kind of seasonal. So I would do different things. Like wintertime, I would snowboard a lot. And I also lived by myself back then, so I cooked a lot for myself, cooked for friends and whatnot. And then in the summertime, I did a lot of hot yoga, a lot of hiking. And spring and fall was kind of a mix of more hiking and, just outdoorsy stuff. And I do think being that I was living somewhere that was outdoorsy, that constantly just put me in an active routine or lack of routine, but something was always going on. I was always being pulled out of my house socially, or just so many opportunities. It was just like, well, I have to go do this, or I want to go do this.
Okay.
And I guess maybe by location now, I really struggle with just being pulled outdoors.
Okay.
And I know it's there, but sometimes it's just not as exciting, and so I just kind of excuse out of it, and I don't. Yeah.
Okay. So now
I
that
haven't found my niche yet.
Okay. So now that you're in Moscow, and the school routine is it a whole lot different than your school routine when you were not in Moscow? So not only has your living situation changed, that you're in Moscow, and maybe those outdoor activities aren't as accessible to you, but has your schooling changed your routine? Is it more intense? Is it less intense? Is it more time? Do you spend more time during the week on it? Do you have weekends free to go do things? Do you just explain
Yes
to me?
and no. So yes and no. I guess that there is time, but with the program, it's like sometimes, and working. So I work too, and I'm a server, so it's like being on my feet. And then I guess I just struggle with between working nights and then being in school in the day, and then we also have different placements, so you can just be out in the community or kind of
Okay.
doing that. I really struggle with finding my energy peak, and that has changed in the last
Okay.
couple of years, where I probably had more days off because I wasn't going full time, where as of now it's just sort of, once school starts and I get in the mode, I just have a really hard time pulling out of that mode and being consistent and getting back to a train. Well, I guess in the summertime, I live in Moscow in the summertime now, and that's better. It's like, okay, I've got all this time. I go and I do it, and I have this designated time of the day that I do it. or that I get outside or go explore or whatnot. But come the fall, it's like I don't know. I just get busy. There's always something I should be doing, and my health goes on the back burner, which is always ironic.
Yeah. And you're not the only one that happens to.
I hope not.
So, tell me about your living situation now. You said you were living alone before.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your living situation now as far as taking care of yourself and cooking and things like that?
So that's also something that's changed because I live with my boyfriend, and he's really great and supportive, but he has his own routine to some extent. I do our cooking entirely, so 3 meals a day. I try to make everything from scratch for us, and that's really fun. I feel like that's pretty narrowed in, and living together is really supportive to that aspect of things, and just grocery budgeting and all of that has actually gotten better. But on the flip side, I guess for the physical side of things, I feel busier because I feel really responsible for cooking for 2 people, which I enjoy, but when it's 3 meals a day and sometimes we have completely opposite schedules, and I feel very accountable to both of us eating healthy, and my boyfriend enjoys eating healthy, but he doesn't want to make it for himself. So if I sleep in 20 minutes or 30 minutes too late or whatnot, he'll just eat out all day. So there's this pressure that it's like, okay, I have to do this, which is great. But to some extent, I get out of school, I do some homework, and then he comes home from work, and it's like the day just goes on to a different direction. He's home, we are making dinner, and then suddenly it's bedtime, and it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes my days just go so fast. Yeah. It's like, oh no, I missed the opportunity. I didn't really designate and plan in a time to really take care of myself. Go get 60 minutes of working out in, and yeah, so just, I don't know. It's just always on the back burner.
Okay. Was that the arrangement when you guys decided to move in together? Was that you would do all the cooking, or is that something that you feel like you're obligated, or you did enjoy it, maybe not so much anymore? Just explain to me how that came about and how you feel about it now.
That's actually a really good question. So I think it was probably my idea where I was just gonna have him be my guinea pig of somebody who was a bachelor and anything he wanted out of convenience. And the more he gets excited about it, the more I get excited about it, the more accountable I feel. And I love it. But I guess I love it, but to some extent, because I do all the shopping and do all of the prep and the cooking, and he does help with cleanup, which is great. There is a significant amount of time every day that goes into that. And because I enjoy cooking, I enjoy it, I like it, but I guess there's maybe a piece that he commutes to work. So he gets his workout in, and I also walk or bike to school, but it's not very far. He lives in Pullman, which is 45 minutes away each way, and so he feels all done and that's not a concern of his when he gets home, whereas I still feel like, okay, I got up and went, I wake up, I get all these meals ready for the day, I get all these chores done, and kind of just just domestic household things throughout the day, do homework, I'm in class, sometimes out of town because I commute, and then when it becomes dinner time, it's like just not on the radar because that's already checked off for him to be physically active that day. Whereas for me, it's just sort of gotten pushed back.
Okay.
So, sorry, I digressed. But I like having control of that because I like cooking. I enjoy that. But it is my sole responsibility, or else he falls off the bandwagon.
Okay. Okay. And then before you guys moved in, how did he do? Did you assist in cooking before you moved in together, or was that not a responsibility of yours, or how did that work?
Well, earlier? It was kind of a mix. It sort of, I tried to a lot, and the nights that we were not hanging out, it was sort of fend for yourself, which realistically, what I make for myself is a lot more of just a few staple items, very classic go-tos that are quick and really healthy, like a big salad with a protein sort of thing. Whereas I guess I probably put more time into the process of cooking and the sitting down for meal times. So I'm devoting more time to it because I always feel bad just making those things. Like, okay, they're going to get boring, or this isn't really something I'm cooking. So the way I cook if it were just me has changed because I want to have more of a meal with, that's aesthetically appealing and fun and something to sit down and enjoy together. Healthy, but, so yeah, it's really fun. It's just, I don't know where to find the other part of balanced wellness.
How long would you say you probably spend grocery shopping for the meals as well as prepping and cooking in a day? So I know maybe you grocery shop every day, maybe you don't. But yeah, how many hours would you say you put into it in a day or even in a week altogether with prepping and cooking? And he helps with cleanup, but if you're doing the grocery shopping and things.
I would probably say cooking alone I put in about 2.5 hours a day. So probably with some cleanup and just prepping and whatnot. And divided up, it's probably about 45 minutes earlier in the day up to 2 hours in the evening that I'll spend doing stuff. And then shopping is probably 4 hours a week. But that stuff, I've gotten into a routine. Like I have a shopping day now. I might make a couple quick trips for something, but for some reason that just falls into place more. That I can kind of organize that part, or at least the shopping part. That I can say I've organized, but the rest of it just seems to just be out of balance with everything.
Okay.
It's good, but it's like there's never enough time in the day.
Yeah. Well, if you're if you feel like you're spending 2.5 hours a day plus 4 days shopping, that's about probably 20 hours a week or so for food prep.
Right.
And so what I would like to do is continue this conversation at our next session, and we'll go into some more strategies of how we can help you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annette.
Yeah.